All right, well, let's stay at home then. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education is making a demand for full transparency from Minister Nobuhle Nkabane, and this is over the ongoing controversial Seta board appointments involving politically connected individuals. Chair Tebogo Letsie says some advisory panel names were concealed. It does raise serious questions about the process. The committee is also pushing for urgent action on mismanagement at NSFAS and student support delays. So let's address those twin issues now with Tebogo Letsie. Good evening to you, Tebogo. Thank you very much, Chair, for your time. We've got these three things that are happening at the same time. So the DA is wanting to go to the Ethics Committee over this. You've now asked the panelists to explain themselves in terms of when they got letters of appointment, where those terms of reference might have been outlined. The President, of course, had requested a report. We're waiting for feedback on that. But let's go back to the piece that involves you directly. How appalled by what appeared to have been redacted names on the list of appointees that were given to you?
Good evening to yourself, Iman. Good evening to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Thanks for having us. I think we ought to start by indicating that the Portfolio Committee on Wednesday, the 18th of June, there were members who were concerned that in the letter that the minister wrote to us, there seems to be areas where they were blacked out. And members indicated that it might be names that are concealed by the minister. We decided to write to the minister to explain. And I explained earlier today that it's very dangerous for us to conclude that that would have been the names that were concealed. And we did write to the minister to explain if indeed it was her concealing names, and if so, she must furnish us with those names. But if it's not, then she must explain, because it might very well be that the minister felt that if she leaves the space blank in the era of deep fake and AI, people might include other people's names there. So we must not conclude that she was or she has concealed, but we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. We'll write to her to explain that the deadline for that is on Wednesday, the 25th of June, and we believe that she will write to us before that time and give us what really happened there.
What did you make of Meti Fani's comments earlier, Tebogo, the chair of the Select Committee on Science and Creative Industries, that doesn't understand, essentially, that this is a storm in a teacup? Why is there so much noise being made about this?
Yeah, I don't know which point are you referring to, but if you are referring to a point where he was indicating that we must allow the president to finalize the report before the committee can do anything. I think the committees are established by Section 55 of the Constitution of South Africa. That gives us the legitimacy to do oversight over the ministry, the department, and all other entities under that particular national public entities under that particular ministry. But we're also empowered by Section 272 of the National Assembly rules, at least in the National Assembly, that empowers us to do oversight over the department. And maybe I'm not familiar with the rules of the NCOP. Maybe in the NCOP they are not empowered by the National Assembly rules like 272 that empowers us to do oversight. In fact, Parliament is empowered to do oversight, including over the presidency itself. So suggesting that we must wait for the presidency to do the investigation before the Portfolio Committee might not have been a correct way to put it.
And I guess then, just going back, and it was with regard to the constitutional process, and as you say, you're empowered to do that, so your work continues. Do you believe that between what you're doing, the answers you're seeking, the efforts of the presidency, the referral of this matter to the Ethics Committee by the DA, that ultimately South Africa will get to the bottom of this and we'll be able to see in the full light of day whether there were, there was political influence and nepotism?
Yeah, obviously I can't speak. I speak on behalf of the Portfolio Committee. And as the Portfolio Committee, we have not taken a decision to take anybody, including the minister, to the ethics. It's a party political decision of the Democratic Alliance to do so. So I will not speak on that. I'll speak on behalf of the Portfolio Committee, where we said we ought to understand between what the minister said on the 30th of April and the letter that she sent to us on the 17th of June. The concern there would have been the independency of the panel itself, and we want to understand what is it that she would have meant by the independent panel, just for her to come and clarify, because there were members who were saying the minister lied in Parliament. We did correct that we are a constitutional democracy. We don't conclude just because somebody makes an allegation. We don't conclude that that allegation is true. There are processes that we will follow, including asking legal to help us to look at what the allegations members are saying, because you'll remember that some of the members were even suggesting that as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, I must go and open criminal cases against the minister, which we felt that really we are not there. We have not arrived at that. Because when you go and open a criminal case against somebody, you must be sure that indeed they misled Parliament on this point, from this point to this point, which is what we've asked legal to help us with. And at this point, we have not really arrived there. The issue between the minister and the presidency, it's really, I also can't comment on what is it that the report that they're looking at or they've been submitted. We really don't enter that much. Where we enter is on Section 55 of the Constitution, Section 92, subsection 2 of the Constitution, Section 272 of the National Assembly, and that is where we put the Ministry Department and all entities under the department accountable.
Tebogo, what consequences, again, as this matter continues to swirl and there are so many different dimensions involved with it, what consequences could be faced by Minister Nkabane or any officials who would have been found to potentially have deliberately withheld information or compromised the integrity of the Seta board appointment process?
So, we are empowered by the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act, Section 17, to do consequence management on everybody who mislead Parliament or who gives inaccurate details to Parliament. But I must emphasize that at this point, we have not arrived at that point. We have not proven that anybody has lied. But Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act, both Chapter 14 and 17 gives us what to do if we find that anybody has misled Parliament as far as this is concerned.
Let's quickly address, before I let you go, and I can appreciate that it's been quite a long day for you as well. I want to deal with the issues relating to NSFAS. Beyond the Seta board appointments, what specific action is the committee considering taking to address the ongoing governance and financial management concerns within NSFAS and public universities?
So our issues with the National Student Financial Aid Scheme is that there seems to be a lot. Remember, NSFAS was put under administration just over a year ago, 14 months ago, on the 12th of April. A new administrator was appointed there to deal with the management and governance issues. Fast forward this year, the board was appointed. We have an acting CEO. So we don't have a CIO, we have a COO. So we've got some management at NSFAS. We've got the board. So when we met with them, we indicated to them that they can't just wake up in the middle of the semester or the year, take a decision to defund students or take a decision to punish unaccredited accommodation. We ask them that they must go and facilitate quickly a process to pay private accommodation providers, because if you don't pay these private accommodation providers, they will not be able to service their debts, they will not be able to pay their municipal debts, they will not be able to buy data, the Wi-Fi for students, they will not be able to keep the lights on. And as we speak now, our worry is that we've got a number of students who wrote exams taking cold showers, who wrote exams without having Wi-Fi, who wrote exams studying with candles because there was no electricity there. So we are looking at the program of Parliament so that we can call NSFAS so that we're able to get a sense of, since we met them on the 7th of May, how far have they moved with the problems they have. But because we have been receiving a lot of complaints from these accommodation providers that nothing has moved. They meet with NSFAS, but nothing changes. And in the process, they can't, some of them are losing their properties. Some of them are forced to evict students, which is not an ideal situation. So we're looking for a date to meet with the leadership of NSFAS so that we can get to the bottom of this together with the department.
But given what you've said, I mean, you know, yes, so businesses are going under. I think one of the examples you cite was one provider who lost 80 beds because of bank repossession, because of months of non-payment. You talked about students being out on the street. You know, this situation needs a great deal more urgency. I mean, what else can be done to ensure that students are reinstated, they are back in safe shelter, they have electricity, they have water, and they can just get on with what they need to get on with, and that's studying?
We have agreed with NSFAS in the last meeting that we're going to have a working relationship with them where every month they're going to give us reports. Whilst we can't get them to appear before Parliament, we have asked the department last week, the Director General and DDG responsible for the university branch, who's also a board member of NSFAS, to make sure that these things in the meantime, they address. The department is doing oversight over this particular entity, because our worry is that if, you know, because of the number of entities that were supposed to do oversight on, will not be able to meet with NSFAS in Parliament every week or every month. But the department has got the responsibility. What happened? This automatic lights. So the department has got a responsibility to cover, to do oversight over this NSFAS, and we're hoping that when they give us a response, they're going to give us a response very soon that looks very good.
Well, from your lips to, you know, NSFAS's ears, I suppose, Tebogo Letsie, thank you for talking to us tonight about both these issues involving the Seta board and the latest at NSFAS. Tebogo Letsie is the parliamentary chair for higher education and training.